a little video today to show you how to make a face mask. We all could be needing these very soon. According to the Prime Minister, when it starts to lift lockdown, we may need face coverings. So this is a nice, quick, easy one that's quite a snug fit. What you will need is 2 different colours of fabric. It is recommended you use 2 colours so that you know which side has been against your face. It is reversible, so you can turn it around and use either side, but it is recommended to use 2 colours. So you need 100% cotton. These 2 were available in the shop. It's recommended that you would wash them first in case of any shrinkage in the materials. You don't want it to shrink after you've made it. So if you wash them and dry them first in the manner that you're going to wash them afterwards, because if you're going to tumble dry them as well, tumble dry it as well, and then the material will do any shrinking that it's going to do beforehand. I'm using a sewing glue pen. This just makes it a bit easier than pinning when you're attaching it. Those, I believe, are available too. I'm using a friction pen. This is a removable pen. It removes with heat as well. Sell them in most good stationers. A pair of scissors, a ruler, a few pins. I think I've got my embroidery scissors. I think that's every... Oh, and bias binding. You need 2 lengths of 36 inches. So you need 72 inches altogether, cut into two pieces of that. This is just over ½ an inch wide. 11 millimeters wide, that is. So the first thing you need to do is cut your fabric out. Now, before I did this, when I decided on the size that I was going to make it, I just cut out the size that I wanted, because if you're going to make a lot of these, say you're making them for carers or you're making them from all the members of your family, it's a lot quicker to just draw around a template or to pin this down and just cut round it. So it's 8 inches by 7.5 inches. If you have got directional fabric, make sure you cut it with the 8 inch is the top and bottom, 7.5 is the sides, and then I've put a dart in the bottom. So that needs to be at the bottom. So again, remember, if it's directional, you're going to put that at the bottom of your fabric. I've already, as you can see, cut them out here. The dart is 3.5 inches in. If you put your template on, or you just measure 3.5 inches in from the left and 3.5 inches in the right, put little marks for that. And then the top of the dart is 1.5 inches up. Because I've drawn it on to a piece of paper, all I did was lay it down, use the removable marker on the back of the fabric, 2 little marks, and then I stuck a pin through the top and lifted it up and marked it where the pin came through the fabric. So there's another look at the measurements in case you need them. Also mark, I've put a T on at the top of both pieces of fabric just to mark the top, and I've also measured in 2 inches from the left side at the top and 2 inches or thereabouts in from the right side of the top. This is just to remind you that when we sew it all the way around, you leave a gap for turning. I've done it on both pieces because it depends which way, when you put it on your machine, which way up you sew it, so you've got the guidelines there to remind you. I'm just going to sew the dart first. So you need to fold your fabric in half, right sides together, and then I just put a little pin in just so it doesn't shift. So do the same on that one, because we're just going to sew that little dart. So I'll just check that it's lined up on either side. Yep. And then we're just going to sew that dart. I sew with 2.5 or 2.4 millimeter stitch length on mine's my usual length. I start slightly off the bottom, because if you start right on the very edge, it can pucker down into the hole in your machine. So I'll just do a couple of stitches. Don't forget to back tack. Not going right to the end, because it's going to be hidden in the seam anyway. And then sew right off the edge, and then back tack that a couple. And that's one done. Little dart sew. Do the same on the other one. I'm using an contrasting pink thread today. So straight off the edge of the dart, because that tends to give you a neater finish. That's the other one. We'll just whip them pins out. Right, so then there you are. You've got your little dart in the middle. So we're now going to put these right sides together and just pin them all the way around. Right, so there we go, pinned all the way around, and I've pinned the 2 darts like you would if you were patchworking. One flap going one way, one flap going the other way, so it lies flatter. We're now going to sew all the way around. Start at one of your marks that you marked at the top, these that were 2 inches in. So start at one of those, sew all the way around, and then finish when you get to the other 2-inch mark, so that you've got a nice gap here. Don't forget to reverse stitch over those so it doesn't come undone when you're turning it right side out. I'm using a 1/4 inch seam. Right, so that's that stitched all the way around. So all we need to do now is just snip off your corners close to the stitches without cutting through them. This just makes it a bit neater when you're turning it. You could use a knitting needle or some other blunt pointy object. You don't want something too pointy because you don't want to poke through your corners. So what you want to do is you want to push your seam in, and you're going to take that to your ironing board and iron that all the way around so it's nice and flat. Right, that's it, all nice and pressed. So now what we want to do is we're going to top stitch it all the way around at 1/8 of an inch. 1/8 of an inch is about 3mm. If you've got a patchwork foot for your machine, that's quite good for that, because mine's got 1/8 of an inch and a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance on that, but I'm not going to worry about that today. I am going to just stitch it all the way around. I'm going to start in the centre of the dart, because this bit's going to be under your chin, so if you start and you stop isn't that neat, you won't see it. Right, so once you've top stitched all the way around, this is what you've got. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the pleats in. The easiest thing to do is just to grab and pleat, push it under and pleat. This is about 1.5 inches down, and the pleat is about 1/2 inch. So once you've done that, pin it, but not right next to the edge, because you might want to stick a few stitches down here, so you can leave the pins in while you do that. And then a bit further down, just above the actually just above the dart, we're going to fold it down again. So there we go. Check that if you want to check how accurate it is. That's not too bad. If you're making a lot of these, obviously measuring is going to slow things right down if you're making them for care workers or anything like that. So now when you're at this point, I would just take it to the iron, turn it over, because you've got pins in it, turn it over, give it a quick press. Mine are glass head pins. Make sure if yours are plastic heads that you don't put the iron directly on them, because you'll melt them. So I'm just going to turn it over and iron it on the back. There we go, all pressed down. And then what we're going to do, tack them down to hold them in place. But just for sake of the video, to make it easy for me, I'm just going to stitch over them. I'm stitching over the stitching I've done already. I'm not going to back stitch. I'm just stitching over my previous stitching line. Same again on this side. So there we go. That's just the stitches stitched over. Now we're going to attach the bias binding. The bias binding you will have folded in half and ironed so that it is open, ready to attach. Now, I have a confession to make. I've just filmed this once already, and I thought I'd press pause and I hadn't, so that when I started to press play again, it seems that I'd pressed pause, so it missed out a whole section of the video. So I'm having to refilm this bit. So I've just unpicked the centre, this centre bit of the bias binding. That's just the glue that's dried inside where I helped glue it down. So fold it in half, make a mark so you know roughly where the centre point is on there and on your mask, which will be roughly the centre of the middle plate, and then open it out, and this is where your glue pen comes in. You can either pin this on, but this is a lot easier and a lot quicker. Run a line of glue down the bottom panel like that, and then your 2 centre lines up, so that's right. Press that down, and then when the bottom bit's stuck, a bit of glue over the top edge of the fabric and then press your top. This is temporary glue, so when you wash it, the glue will wash away. So that's that one on. So we're going to do the same on the other side. These black marks will disappear when you iron it. So I am just literally going to press on that for a couple of seconds with the iron. So what you would do next, you would stitch all the way down, all the way across, and all the way down. So just to sew that in, there, pretty much caught it all. I think there's a little bit, I've just gone off the edge there. I'll do the same on the other side. So again, I've done on that side, caught it all in on that side, and that's it, all finished. One mask completed. It is expandable, and remember the dart goes at the bottom. So I hope you enjoy making those.